Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. With Module 23 we get an entire new hunt system, Dragon Hunts. And with it, much like Barovia, we have modifiers which you can put on those hunts before you go and fight your said boss. And these modifiers vary from easy to hard to even extreme. Now you will find these modifiers in your key section of your inventory, this pack here once you've done a bit of questing in the Dragon Hunts, and you'll have it here. All of these modifiers you can go and you can unlock. Now what do you need these modifiers for? Well, to obtain your gear. You will need to obtain reagents with those modifiers to purchase this gear. You can see how this mythic ribcage needs that hardened dragon plates, these arm pieces need the dragon wing webbing, and these rings need the dragon finger bones. And that's all this mythic gear will be able to obtain with Module 23. There is a lot of best in slot stuff here. And so these reagents you'll find in your collections are these 5 here. You'll need the blue ones for the lesser purple gear, but there is also some mythic rings down the bottom here as well, some that are not so bad. And so to obtain these dragon parts, you will need to be using modifiers. And so these modifiers, again in this pack here, you'll be able to see, and initially you won't be able to use them. They will be locked. So you will have to go unlock them first and then upgrade them. And you can get them upgraded all the way to tier 3. And so when you go and you queue up to a dragon hunt, for example, a ancient dragon, you will be presented in this little lobby area. You'll interact with this table, not this one, it will enter you straight into the dragon's lair. This one will put this modifier screen in front of you and it will give you the option of the modifiers you have unlocked. You can then go and choose which ones you want to actually be using in your hunt. Normally when in a party you can only choose 2, and then it depends on other people because they can also choose the modifiers, and if you choose the same modifier, well, you just get one of it. And once you've chosen the modifiers you want, you click ready and your hunt activates, and you can see your target and you can see then those modifiers that you are using. And each modifier you can see has a negative, but it also has a positive. For example, this limited conditioning will reduce the player's stamina regeneration. However, it will increase the rewards. You'll gain guaranteed rare dragon parts. And when we check back on the dragon parts, we can see that these dragon's hardened plates will drop when I use the easily irritated dragon modifier. They will also drop when I use the rotating chaos. You can see the bones will drop when I use resilience and are trickery reversal. And these dragon wings will drop when I'm using limited conditioning or denied. Now, how many do you actually obtain per hunt? How many do I have to do to get my mythic gear? Well, it will depend which dragon hunt you're in, whether that be young, adult, or ancient. For example, you kill an ancient dragon and you use these different modifiers. You use a easily irritated, which is a hard modifier, plus limited conditioning, which is a hard modifier, plus rotating chaos, which is an extreme modifier. And you can see you get 12 of those reagents on the hard, and you get 16 on the extreme. So yes, ideally you want to be getting those modifiers which are extreme. Of course, it's going to be somewhat more difficult, but that's going to be the most efficient way to obtain these reagents. You can of course go and do adult dragon hunts, but you will see you will only obtain 3 of these parts when you're using a hard, and you can get 4 when you're using extreme. That's drastically lower. Now don't worry, you do not use the modifier, we do not consume it once you select it here. We click already and that just activates those modifiers we want to use. This means there will be no repetitive grinding. Once you unlock a modifier and once you upgrade it, it permanently stays that way. No consuming like you had with Barovia, using up those cards and those glyphs to give you those extra bonuses. Now, one thing that you can do is choose the modifiers that will give you the most of one part type. For example, if I want to get this new mythic ribcage, you can see it needs 200 of those dragon hardened plates. And so checking again on that dragon part, we can see we need to be using easily irritated and rotating chaos. And that's these two modifiers. Having them upgraded to tier 3 will make sure that you always get the drop. So if we went and jumped into an ancient dragon fight, how many per run of these dragon hardened plates could we get? Well, when we go and make sure to actually choose those modifiers, rotating chaos and easily irritated, and then go and finally complete our dragon hunt. And if that hunt is an ancient dragon, we will get a total of 28 of those parts. As you can see, 12 plus 16. Now I shall go over a bit more in another video where I describe exactly how you're going to be grinding this gear, what you need to do exactly, but a big part of it is which modifiers you choose to run with. And so let's move on to how you can actually upgrade and unlock these modifiers. First of all, you're going to have to spend these reagents. You're going to have to get these elemental strands, and these elemental strands you can get by killing dragons, but you can also get them by just killing normal enemies, which I will show you in a little bit. But in order to unlock them, you're spending this currency, and then you can upgrade them further. This is a tier 1. You can upgrade that to a tier 2 and finally a tier 3. And it is these tier 3s that you want, and the reason is all they will do is improve your loot. You can see that your increased rewards will have a guaranteed rare drop rate, so you don't have to have RNG. You can see here we managed to get a drop on a tier 1 and we're guaranteed getting on tier 3, and over here we had our tier 1 and we only got an emerald, and it's about a 25% chance, so you absolutely want to make the most of it by upgrading it. And how do you upgrade them, and how do you best obtain these elemental strands? You will see them in your key section of your inventory, all here, hunt currencies. Well, simply by killing enemies in certain zones. In this zone we get charred elemental strands, and the way it works is you can go and kill as many enemies as you want, but the maximum drops you will obtain on average is 50, and you will only ever get them to drop once every 30 seconds. We killed that bunch, and we're going to have to wait. And a very easy way to time this is to slot something like the hawk or the doohickey. You go and toss it at your enemies, and then you go and you kill them. And we got our drop. Now what you can get is different elemental drops, but they will depend largely on which zone you're in. You can look at the tooltips and you can see that these decayed elemental strands will be found in swampy and decrepit regions, whereas these charred elemental strands will be found in volcanic regions. There's lava around here, so this is where you will be obtaining them. Our doohickey is going off cooldown. We can toss it at our next group and we can kill them and we get another drop. You can see we're also getting these very oddly chromatic strands. Those you will donate to your stronghold coffer to give you guild marks and to help upgrade your guild by giving it those Tyranny of the Dragons treasures. And so again we wait on our doohickey. As 30 seconds go by, we toss it and we go kill those enemies. There's no need to go rampaging around a zone and killing enemies as fast as possible. You won't gain any benefit from that. And I've made a document here, and we can see that it seems, yeah, it's time related. You will get a drop every 30 seconds, and you can use a doohickey, like I was saying, to easily time it. You will need 3,250 of those elements to unlock and fully max out a single element mod. So after a whole bunch of grinding there, we got our 3,298 of our frozen elemental strand, which means we can go to our key section and go to these modifiers. And we wanted to go and upgrade the one that gives us limited conditioning. We first need to unlock it to get it to level 1, and then we spend 1,000 more to get it to level 2, and then to get to level 3 we have to spend another 1,500, as I did my math before doing this. And then there are those mods which are dual element mods, and what I would highly recommend is indeed focusing on these hard and extreme mods, focusing on extreme first, unless you're a more newer player and you're only going after the purple gear, then you might want to go for the easy and medium mods. As you can see, those gear pieces or the reagents for the purple gear is the blue stuff. and this has a 50-50 chance to essentially give you a drop when you have any medium modifier. And so overall, the different zones that I have tested to give you those different elements is your Well of Dragons, Twisted Caverns, Catacombs, Velos, Neverdeath's Graveyard, all giving you the Crackling Elemental. You have your Decayed zones there, you have your Verdant zones, your Charred zones, your Frozen, and your Chromatic seem to drop from everywhere, but at a lower drop chance, about 10% of the time. I could be a bit higher than that. Otherwise, it seemed that you were getting more chromatic ones within Dragonbone Vale and Shoten Star River, but I could be completely wrong on that. I would need to do some more testing, but you will also get verdant ones in Shoten Star, and you will also get your decayed one in Dragonbone Vale. Again, if you want maximum efficiency, you want to be killing those hunts with the hardest modifiers to give you 16 of these parts instead of 12. And again, you can stack 2 of the different modifiers that would give you the same type of reagent, and you'll gain nearly double the amount from one thing. And again, upgrade them to tier 3, as again, what you can see in those parts, just hovering over it, a tier 3 will guaranteed give you the drops. And that's about it for these modifiers. You will be grinding in your zone, tossing your doohickey, killing your enemies, and then waiting 30 seconds before killing the next bunch. Again, no reason to go all hobo and kill enemies and then just end up short on enemies to kill, rather than just killing them nice and slowly once every 30 seconds. I did do a test on the drop rates per kills, and I was generally getting between like 55 and 47, 45 on all of my different drops of those elemental strands. So it's very easy, and you're only going to spend about 32 minutes to max out a single element mod and about 34 minutes on a dual element mod. This is about the fastest time you could do it. It's probably going to take you 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how rapid you are at going and killing the next enemy as soon as the 30-second cooldown has gone. And go kill them, and there we get our Charred Elemental Strand. And overall, again, you will need those modifiers for these hunts in order to obtain the gear. And primarily you're obtaining these parts through the modifiers. You will have different loot that can drop like with the modifiers. For example, you can see the rough AD that you will get. And I recorded when I was killing some adult dragons with an extreme modifier. It's getting like 4k, rough AD 5k, and you would get a bunch of blue insignias as well, and some sapphires and emeralds. And those can go up to much higher drops on your extreme ancient dragon fights, like getting an enchanting stone rank 6. That of course is being removed as those are outdated. And so with that said, hopefully this is somewhat insightful as towards what you're going to be actually doing with module 23. Yes, unfortunately you'll have to be going and grinding out some mobs to upgrade these modifiers, but again, it's not much time at all, considering it's only about 30-40 minutes to maximize one of those modifiers. And how many do you have to do? Well, you only initially have to do ideally 3, but then depending on what gear you want, you might want to take the hard ones as well. In my opinion, grind the hard and the extreme. The gear, let's say you want this new ribcage with crit strike and crit severity, you will need 200 of those hardened dragon plates, as you can see there. And so with 28 of them dropping, let's say when you use the tier 3 rotating chaos with easily irritated, you want that tier 3 as well for the guaranteed drop, then you will guarantee every ancient dragon hunt obtain 28 of these hardened plates. And if you look at the time then of needing 200, you only have to do just over 7 ancient dragon fights with those modifiers, and GG, you've got enough of that currency for your gear. Otherwise, modifiers don't really affect anything else than the drop of those parts and then the odd bit of loot like rough AD and refinement points, and you know what I mean. And that's about it for this video. Again, I will in another video upcoming soon go over exactly how long it will take you to get a mythic gear piece. But again, it's going to be, as we know already, capped once per week. So how much time are you going to have to spend in that week? And is it easier than Avernus Hunts? And so I'll answer those questions in another video, and if I present this well, consider leaving the video a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.